Hello all and welcome to the very first review to the Matt Powers Show, the nerd culture podcast about all things comic books, video games, TV, and movies. You know, the cool stuff from when you were a kid. I'm Matt Powers, a late 30s elder millennial living in his mother's basement, once a superhero with a successful career, now a podcaster, because of course I am. All elder millennials podcast on YouTube. Come on. For today's episode, we have a very first movie review. That's right! This is an exciting day. Now the movies have returned to the theater. It's time for your favorite friendly neighborhood cartoon character to go watch them and review them for your benefit. And all of this for the low, low price of your adoration. Please, I need your love. It's important to me. And it's fitting that we start our reviews with a return to the MCU and the first outing from Marvel since the end of Phase 3. That's right. We're reviewing that badass super spy and all-around awesome Avenger known as the Black Widow. Before we begin, I want to say a few quick words regarding how we score movies on this channel. I will have a more in-depth explanation up as a video in due time, but until then, it's important for you to see the inner workings of what this process is like. The overall score that I give is a something out of 5, but that doesn't mean I'm only looking at 5 different categories. In fact, I'm looking at 10 different categories, each with a point system of their own that's 1 to 5. Based on whatever final number from all of those categories added together, that translates into the final score. But that score is not an acumen of how good a movie is, it's just a way to rank it against other films. In addition to the out of 5 score, I also have a scale from bad to good, with a few levels in between. This way, a movie can score low on the scale but still be considered good, albeit with some flaws that we need to acknowledge. So, 5-point scale for ranking purposes, but another level of distinction is either bad, good, or something in between. Everybody got that? Okay, moving on. Black Widow. Ah, how nice it was to finally sit down in a theater and watch a 2-hour film with the gorgeous leading lady, Scarlett Jost. Wait, no, did she take Colin's name? Yes? No? Anybody? Anyway, the movie is about the Avengers character Natasha Romanoff, otherwise known as the Black Widow, as she is on the run from the US government following the events of Captain America Civil War. Alone and without friends to help her, she decides to become a recluse, until she's attacked by a sinister new villain known as the Taskmaster. And this all leads her to reuniting with her sister Yelena, who is also a Black Widow. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Black Widows are a group of trained female assassins, and this movie will dive deep into their history and what they're all about. Suffice it to say, we come to learn more about Natasha's past, including her parents, which happen to be comprised of a roided-up super soldier from the Russian government known as the Red Guardian, and an extremely intelligent super scientist who's developed a form of mind control. The movie tackles the inner working of Natasha's mind as she is reunited with her former family, forced to face the mistakes of her past, and eventually confront a ghost from her past who may have found a way to rule the world. Wow, okay, that's a lot, but the movie itself is an amazing spy thriller that would make even James Bond jealous. The story is damn compelling, and the characters they've added are extremely likable. In fact, every moment of David Harbour's Red Guardian on screen is possibly the best moment of the movie. The relationship between Natasha and her sister is crucial, and both Scarlett and Yelena's actress Florence play it to perfection. The amount of love the characters share is evident, as is the pain of their past and the haunted existence of their present. This movie delivers in the storytelling capacity. It's tense, it's meaningful, and it never feels like time is wasted. The overall direction of the film works, and at several moments I kind of felt like this was a love letter to the best of the spy thriller genre. In fact, so confident am I that the director Kate Shortland knows how to handle the genre that she has become my number one choice to helm a Metal Gear Solid film. She gets it. I mean, she just gets it. The special effects do well for most of the film, although I found that the effects in the third act seem kind of disappointing. Some of the CGI seems overtaxed and perhaps needed a little bit more time and money to get it perfect. There are several shots in the final set piece that felt overly worked, and you can really see the cracks beginning to show on the CGI that was perhaps done maybe a couple years ago. One scene in particular with an exploding helicopter left me feeling like too much of it was green screen and simply not blended well enough. But beyond that, most of the effects in the movie were practical anyway, and of course, the shootouts and stunt choreography was spot on. I was surprised by the lack of marketing for the film, however. It feels like there were only a handful of trailers and some made-for-TV spots. No big push to get Black Widow signage into places like Target or Walmart. Then again, during an age of the pandemic, who's likely to see it? Regardless, I feel like the movie itself had been underrepresented by the marketing department. And on another note, however, is how relevant the film feels in today's era. It's refreshing to have a leading lady instead of a leading man, and the fact that they don't necessarily draw attention to that point might help this film to go over better than how Captain Marvel did. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Captain Marvel, and I like the character, but there was a segment of the fanbase who felt that the movie was too heavily pushing feminism instead of just letting the story be the story. In this regard, Black Widow will not disappoint. It's a movie about badass women being badass women, and it never feels the need to specifically point that out. All in all, Black Widow was very enjoyable, and it was a return to form for the MCU. While I have loved watching WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, kinda, and Loki as shows on Disney+, it was important to get back to the theaters and have a good, tight story. I did have some issues with character arcs in the third act and would love to do a spoiler review later when I can lament about the things this film did wrong, but that shouldn't change the fact that if you're a fan of the MCU, a fan of Black Widow, or a fan of just good, fun spy thriller movies in general, you're going to love this movie. There was a lot that was a lot for our first review. Whew. Okay, listen, before we score this thing, once again, I want to impress this. The score does not necessarily denote if a movie is good or bad. The score is just for ranking purposes. I save good or bad as a separate element to add at the end. The score is based on 10 categories tallied up to denote a 1 to 5 score, and even a 1 out of 5 could be a good movie, just having some serious flaws. Entertainment is subjective, and we all come to it with our own baggage and expectations. Regardless, this movie was a triumph as a return for the MCU to theaters, and no score is going to erase the importance of having a strong female lead and a movie written to showcase action and emotion. So based on the categories aforementioned, I hereby declare this film to be good, and I give Black Widow a 4 out of 5. Okay, that's my review for Black Widow. If you're still watching this review, and it's the weekend the movie was released, I hope it informs you on whether or not you want to see this movie in theaters. I know Black Widow is also out on Disney+, albeit for an additional $30 payment, but if you don't feel comfortable going out amongst the people just yet, then that's fine too. Do yourself a favor, pay the money, buy the film, and watch it in the comfort of your own home. It's been too long since new movies were releasing at a regular rate, and this just might be the start of a long stretch where we finally get to relax a little and enjoy the movies again. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you. I love you all and hope you have a wonderful movie watching experience. And, as always, to end the thing, this is Matt Powers saying, nerd out.
Through the vortex!